What is up, team? Welcome back to the UFC Gym Raw Life podcast. We are once again with Mr. Neal Spruce, the godfather of nutrition within our industry. I love saying that. I love saying it. You earned it, my friend. We got you. We got you. Mr. Neal Spruce, founder of dotFIT, nutritional partner with us at UFC Gym, as well as our class UFC Gym, and also the owner and founder of the National Academy of Sports Medicine. We're going to talk weight loss and body fat loss, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mr. Spruce.
Thank you, Todd and Jordan. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me back again. It was kind of fun. I know you guys are still a little bit of ways from opening up, but it's a great way to share time with your members that are checking in, and of course your trainers as well. I've got a unique little thing we're going to do today. You know, we talked about it with you guys, but for everybody that's tuned in here, or if you are later listening to the recording, it's kind of a little treat for you. Now, all of the practitioners, trainers, coaches that go through our certification, and we have over 40,000 of them. They go through very comprehensive, not just their training certifications and their adjuncts to those. There's different certifications that they get for being able to work with you from a human movement standpoint, but they go through a nutrition certification. And the nutrition certification puts the nutrition into the scope of practice so it matches your goals in the gym. So you get there way faster, okay? Or so you actually get there, put it that way. So what you're going to see, they've all been through that. So what you're going to see is what we call a master class for them, which means that they've been through the certification, they've had the science, they know exactly, why all these fat loss bundles. We call them fat loss bundles, not weight loss bundles. These fat loss bundles are put together to accelerate people's goals and make it easier for them and improve their health while they're going through weight loss goal rather than degrade their health, which is what happens with conventional dieting. So this is a master class after they've all been certified. So you get to actually see it, what trainers go through further. Now, I have shortened it significantly for all of you, and maybe we'll change a few things, but you'll get the idea. Because this is what we are teaching them to pass on to you. So we're just going to bypass them right now and go straight to you and see. So you'll see what they get. So it's kind of an interesting view, which is something we don't obviously do generally, but I always welcome any member or any client into any of our training programs with their trainer. So here we go.
Well, I think that's a great lead up because this is behind the curtain, so to speak, at Oz, right? Where the members get to see and the audience gets to see what our trainers are going through and some of the information and as far as detailing some of the myths right there about weight loss.
That's right. So here we go. So we called this was a supplement packages for weight loss. So as I'm explaining it to a trainer, as they come into the master class after they've been certified for quite a while at this point, you've had the science, so let's get to the solutions. So we're going to kind of jump over all the hardcore science, but I will sprinkle a little bit in at some point. You'll see here. So we're going to get right down to what is the minimum we have to do from a nutritional standpoint for every one of our clients that's going through weight or fat loss. Okay, and again, we like to call this fat loss versus weight loss, but I'm going to keep using the word weight. You're going to see it interchangeably with fat. Okay, just keep that in mind. But I'm trying to get you to start thinking about altering body composition favorably rather than weight loss. We got to lose that thought process eventually. Okay, so first is, what is the minimum we have to do from a nutrition standpoint? So that's the first thing we'll be talking about. Filling nutritional gaps that are created by activity and unfulfilled by diet. Then we're going to get into how meal replacements can be incorporated. So when a trainer, a fitness professional has someone that wants to get, weight loss that has struggled a little bit with it and previously, this is like the most successful program. We'll go through that and how you package those and how that actually saves. And I want everybody to remember this now, that saves you a ton of money by incorporating meal replacements into menu planning over the long haul. And then finally, we'll go from the minimum package to the max. So how, like I will ask anybody that I need to work with, like, as most of you know, we have fitness professionals that work in pro sports, college sports. We have them we're actors, actresses. We actually have assets that live with these actors and actresses to get them ready for movies and shoots. there are no holds barred in those type of programs. We can make, how fast do you want to go? I can turn 12 weeks into 3 weeks if I have to. And we do that for movie shoots very often. So we'll show you what those packages look like. Then we'll end up with kind of the fun package that physique athletes used at the end. So that's the fun one. All right, so here we go. And then we're going to do Q&A for as long as you want. I got nowhere to go.
Okay, great.
Okay.
That's good to know, because we'll probably have some questions.
Okay, so now I want to make sure that everyone on this call, make sure you use your resources as necessary. In other words, none of this works without diet, okay? And of course, as far as we're concerned, none of it works well without exercise. Yeah, you can diet without exercise, but bad things happen, okay? That's why exercise is so important while you're doing that for lots of reasons. So no matter what, you've got to make sure that use the program. And all of our fitness professionals have access to the program. All the members of the UFC clubs have access. Even if you don't have a fitness professional, you have access to this for free. It connects you to the club, and it connects you to the practitioner, so they can always communicate with you. They can message back and forth while you're logging your food or doing any of these things, so make sure you do that. And most importantly, you'll get actionable feedback. So every time that you put in your new weight, you can put it in daily, but you won't get a response except weekly. Put in your new weight or body fat, as we like to use body fat, but you put in both. Okay, that's how we measure body fat as well. It will come back with actionable feedback and tell you what to do to stay on goal in case you're off goal. All right, and this is a note to everybody first. So again, I know I haven't got into the packages yet, some of the packages, that's going to be a minute, because the most important thing first is making sure you're eating the best you can. So you need to log your food. If you don't log your food, your chances of success, at least for 30 to 60 days anyway, you log your food, your chances of success are slim to none to maintain it. And we know that from people that log food during weight loss, fat loss goals, and we know it from people that don't. And there's really no excuses anymore. We can connect to any device. Now, even though we have a very sophisticated food log system inside the dotFIT program that UFC uses, it's got a very evidence-based one, which means the calories are absolutely perfect. They are nailed, they are changed regularly so that the foods are all upgraded. But other people, they're kind of married to their own. They might be using the Fitbit, they might be using an InBody, or they might be using MyZone, or maybe they're using MyFitnessPal, which is a very common food logging system. Well, we connect to those too, so you can still get all the good stuff in the dotFIT program and use your favorite food log if you want. Oh, and of course, move activities. So the Fitbit can help monitor your calories and your steps and so forth. So it's all, so we connect to almost all of them. All right, so that's first. And I just want to show you what this looks like. So each week, you will be plugging in your weight, and every 2 weeks, your body fat, okay? And when you do that, you've already set your goal, right? So once you've set your goal, this thing goes into the algorithms, and if it finds out that you are off goal, it will come up with a message such as this. According to your body fat and weight measurements, you are off goal this much. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep the program the same? Then you would just extend, or do you want to extend the goal? Understand why my weigh-in didn't come the way I wanted. Come up with a whole information for you there. Keep my goal date that I set. Just give me a new set of menus then with the lower calorie intake is what this thing will have to do. So you click there and it recreates your whole program in literally 2 seconds, all new menus, everything else, but it'll keep you on goal here because you got a wedding and you can't push it out. Or you just say, you know what, push it out. Or you can say, okay, I give up, start a new program. So yeah, we got about everything covered there for you. And that's what's great. So this is the secret sauce of the program. This is an algorithm. No other kind of program has this. Okay, now let's get to it. Let's get to the meat. Every once in a while, we'll find
Neal, real quick before you jump on. So that app is through dotFIT.com, right? Yeah. It's the resource that you were talking about, which allows people and our trainers. As soon as a member comes in, we create a dotFIT profile for them. Correct. And whether you with UFC or without, with the UFC gym or without, it's something that they can take with them and they can keep using as a tool. Of course, we want them to stay with us, and I think we offer great value. But it's a lifestyle switch in some respect that you're measuring and monitoring, and you're goal oriented.
Yeah, they're always under your org. They don't leave your org. So once they've been put, if they move away somewhere else, they're still under the UFC org. Okay, and they're under the trainer org too. Now, if the trainer leaves, then they just move under a UFC org. So that's always there. So they're connected to you even when they're not with you, regardless of what happens.
That way they can always, right, and then they can always reach out for questions. Again,
correct.
You know, professionally, they have that coach, so to speak, that goes with them wherever they are, whenever they are.
Yeah, great accountability tool. We're really excited to implement it with our coaches for sure. Because I know one thing would be just relying on text conversations and things like that with trainers, but here we have an actual interface where we can really dive deep into keeping clients on a program, keeping them consistent with accountability, and then answering any questions as well as supplement recommendations as well. So,
all right, didn't mean to steal your thunder, Neal, but
and it's great. It's a two-way mirror. So you're seeing everything that they're seeing. You know, always. You can, and you know, that's why you can message them and so forth with that. But hopefully they'll stay in your gym forever. Otherwise, they're in your virtual gym, which is the dotFIT program, which is perfect. Okay. All right. So here's the big question. Here's how we start this off with all of our trainers, because there's often every once in a while you get people that are really hesitant about supplementing for whatever reason. You know, they might have heard something or they just don't want to, or I just want to do it all natural. Well, I got news for you. Supplements are all natural, so don't worry about it. You are doing it all natural. So anyway, but so you never know. So this just helps them get over it. So I go like this. So when someone will ask me, well, should I supplement for weight loss? And the answer I give them is no. If your goal is weight loss and you want that number to go down on the scale fast, don't supplement, because you're going to lose both muscle, you're going to lose organ size, and you're going to lose body fat. And unfortunately, you're going to lose about anywhere from 25 to 50% lean body mass, and the rest will be body fat. So if you want the number to go down on the scale, that's a faster way of getting it down. So here's the upside to that. By subtracting the nutrients with the calories, so when we drop your calories, obviously we're losing the nutrients, and everybody's already low on nutrients. No one gets what they need from food alone. That's never happened on the history of the planet. So, you know, bottom line is now we're taking away food and you're subtracting more nutrients. So the upside to this program here with no supplements is the number on the scale will go down faster because of the total weight loss at the start of dieting. At the start, that's the catch, because of the additional loss of lean body mass. The faster you go, the more lean body mass you lose. But generally, in conventional dieting, like any of your weight loss centers that you see advertised on TV, they're going to lose about 25 to 50% of the weight loss will be lean body mass. And of course, that brings us to the downside. So the downside of that is you come to an early plateau, because what burns calories? Yeah, the lean body mass. So that's why your body's shedding it. It sets up as the human body was never designed to lose weight, ever. It is only designed to gain weight till it dies. It was done as an evolutionary trait 4 million years ago as hominids. It started that way because we all died in our 20s before then, teens or anything else. So we had to gain as much weight because food wasn't available. So we are locked into the body still sets up mechanisms against any weight loss. So what it does, it sheds the things that uses calories because it's afraid you're going to starve it to death. So it sheds the lean body mass. So what do I got to do now? Well, you come to a plateau. Can't lose any more weight. So what do I have to do? I got to reduce your calories again. If I reduce your calories, you've got greater loss of appetite, and you've got accelerated cravings. Okay, so now we've got a triple whammy going on here. Well, you've lost, of course, because you've lost all these micronutrients, which is, you know, the nutrients that were in your foods, because you've lost that, and now it's exacerbated from this, you've been compromising your structural and functional integrity. You don't just lose muscle when you lose weight in conventional dieting like this without supplementing. You lose organ size. You lose bone mineral. You lose all these things are being shed. Okay, especially because you are lighter now and you don't have the minerals to feed your bones anymore. Your body's actually taking the vitamins and minerals from your bones and organs in order to keep it alive. So you have less energy as muscles and organs shrink, leading to decrease in your activities. The body is also tricking you into not moving as much because it doesn't want you to do that because you burn more calories if you move too much. So now you're miserable in your workouts. Now you're just not feeling good all the time. And as we know, most people are jerks when they're dieting. Okay, And of course, you have a much greater chance of a rebound because the low calorie intake is generally unsustainable. And we know the stats, 90% of everybody that loses weight gains it all back and more within 5 years. And 85%, 80 to 85 gain it back in the first year. And here's the problem. The weight gain comes quick. In other words, you're one of those people now that, first of all, you crave foods you never even liked before. They're cravings, you're crazy. You are now that person that smells food and gets fat, because your metabolism has just gone down to here from shedding all the stuff that burns calories. And you get fatter on less calories. And you're structurally weaker than you were, of course. So you've got body composition is compromised, both structurally and visually. We often refer to these people that have no tone as skinny fat. They've lost the weight, but they're a smaller version of themselves. All right, let's jump to the right. So when someone says, well, I just want to lose body fat, I go, okay, then yes, you don't have a choice. You have to supplement. We will now add nutrients with little to no calories. So I can feed your muscle so it doesn't have to get nutrients, don't have to come out of the muscle and the bone. I will feed it without the calories. Calories will come down at the very beginning to get started, and we'll preserve the lean body mass. So the upside now, this can be flipped here. The upside, we preserve lean body mass, muscle, bone, and organs, and avoid weight loss plateaus with the subsequent calorie reductions because I'm maintaining what burns calories. That also supports your appetite and the diet stress. The body puts you, when you're dieting, your body goes through an incredible stress. Cortisol is being released like crazy. But we're supporting that now because the body's getting all of the nutrition it can actually use, just not getting all the calories, but it's drawing that from your body fat. And that supports, we can support actually gaining muscle. And if I can gain muscle, a little bit of muscle, while you're losing body fat, guess what I do? I actually increase your total energy expenditure. And by doing that, I can feed you more. Now you're a machine. Now you're getting there. We also maintain and improve your health. So instead of you being miserable, catching the first cold that comes along, cold seasons and everything else, we've got your micronutrient status way up. Your vitamin mineral activity, which is responsible for all of vitamin minerals, are responsible for all of the systems in your body: cardiovascular, muscular, skeletal, brain, and of course your cognitive system, and of course your immune system. So by having it all the way up to RDA levels, which the only way you can do that is a supplement, obviously, especially when your calories are down, we are now feeding all of those pieces. So we can improve your health during this process as well. And then, of course, that would maintain and improve your structural integrity. Body composition is healthy and generally visually desirable. We call tone. People always come in and go, yeah, I just really want to tone up. Well, that's code for weight. That's code for fat loss. That's what it means. The toning up. Your muscles tone under there. I got news for you. You just can't see it. So again, we get the tone by the time we get the fat off. And that reduces your chances of rebound. That's the goal. Our goal is to get you addicted to fitness. I have a very short time to get you addicted to fitness. But that's what the goal is when we do it right. Now, the downside. So here's the only downside to fat loss and supplementing. Your body weight initially declines slower, so that number won't go as fast on the scale with no supplementation, right? So that is what, oops, hang on, here we go. Yeah, so that's what the downside is. But the bottom line is, that's why, so you guys know Todd and Jordan, I had to introduce body fat measurements into the gym in the early 80s because, people go, listen, I want to lose 10 pounds. And so I go, listen, you want to lose 10 pounds of fat, not weight. But everybody was hung up on weight. This was when the diet centers were proliferating around the world, right? And I'm just fighting against these places, going, you guys are nuts. You don't want to do that. You're just going to rebound. So bottom line is I introduced body fat measurements. And once they saw their body fat go down, you could measure that in pounds, then they had it. Then they got it. They finally got over it. And of course, here was the difference. So let me show you this. Now I'm going to put what we just went through, I'm going to put it into a picture for everybody here. So let's take this beautiful young lady here, 170 pounds. Her goal is to lose 50 pounds. So with no diet support, so let's left side, fat with no supplementing, no diet support. We'll get her down. I'll get her down 30 pounds of fat and 20 pounds of lean body mass. That would be a normal loss. That's actually being generous on the lean body mass loss. But we get her to her 120, we get her to her 50-pound loss. And you know what? She looks good. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure she's happy and everything else. Okay. Now let's do it my way. Let's do it our way, the UFC way, with diet support. We'll get her down 46 pounds of fat compared to 30. put on 5 pounds of muscle. Calories won't change, probably going down. Now, I didn't get her down to 50 pounds, but believe me, she is one happy girl because that's how it turns out. She's going, okay, I got it. And here's the other part now. Ready? You got a 90% chance of rebound over here. We know that. We got it done here, Hooked on Fitness. We got it done. So now let's do it with a guy. Everything's fair. Both genders here. 200-pounder wants to lose 40 pounds. No diet support. This would be typical for a guy. They'll lose a little less muscle maybe in the beginning and then their body fat here. We got him down to 160. There he is. It's just a smaller version of his former self. Now do it my way. Do it your way. UFC way. We'll get 40 pounds of fat off you, and probably faster than this, plus 10 pounds of muscles because men have different hormones than females. Get you down to 170, but no complaint. Different look completely. And you got the same issue, 90% of chance of rebound over here on the skinny fat guy, and then you got Hooked on Fitness over here. And that's what the goal is. And these are real stories, guys. This is the way it works, all right? So what is that supplement piece? So let's get into the packages right now. So for all of you on the call here, watching this, our practitioners are taught from day one, their job one during fat loss / weight loss programs is to preserve, because they're practitioners, they are health professionals. They're not exercise instructors. They're not diet center coaches. They are health professionals, which is holistic in nature. We have to preserve and improve structural and functional integrity. That's job one during fat loss program, which means we have to preserve lean body mass, the muscles, organs, and bones. That's our first job as we do it. And guess how easy it is? This is what's baseline. Won't work with you unless this is automatic. No matter who you are, this is baseline. You don't walk out without knowing. You work with me without taking a complete, not an incomplete. This is not negotiable, folks. An individualized complete. These are the different ones that we have for every life phase. And complete means not mass market. Those are incomplete. They do not have the high vitamin D, the high vitamin C. They don't have choline. All the other things that we put in them and all the known underconsumed nutrients. There's about 19 that are potential underconsumed in the U.S. diet. None of them in the mass market go that far to match it to diet like we do, and that's what you get. So that's not negotiable. That's a lifelong thing. You did it when you were in the womb. It's a prenatal. You continue it the rest of your life. And then now the next thing is protein. During weight loss, protein is way more important than it is not during weight loss, of course, because your calories are down and protein is what supports the lean body mass when it comes to the amino acids and so forth. Obviously, your vitamin minerals do as well, but protein even more so. So you need to have, and this is a standard recommendation we have for everybody, every person that is active, and that's 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. I don't care how old you are. If you are just born, if you are 1-year-old, if you are 100 years old, 1 gram per pound of lean body mass your entire life. And the older you get, and starts at age 30, the more protein you need. I have 2 sons who are both professional athletes, and they're twice my size, right? 10 times the activity, obviously. And I need twice the amount of protein per pound that they do, because their bodies are in their mid-20s. They still handle protein well. As the older we get, because we're not supposed to be here, we've cheated death. We do not handle, our body's already resistant to exercise and protein actions as compared to the younger one. So this is not an option for everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Clarification question.
Yeah.
So you talk about 1 gram per, because you hear 1 gram per pound, and you're talking about 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. There's a difference there.
Okay, here, I'll give it to you. Now, the reason I'm doing this is kind of a safe number here, if you will. You get some conservative people out there that, they're just going, well, I don't, a gram per pound. Well, what if you're 300 pounds and 150 of it's body fat?
Right.
Right. So that's the reason we do this. If you have a lean person, or not when I say lean, if you have someone that's not, obese, you can go 1 gram per pound. And by the way, this number will go up. The more aggressive your weight loss, like, just recently we had to get some of your very famous actor ready for a shoot. we have to double the protein. They'll be going 1.5 grams per pound of weight. That's pretty much they're living on that because we had to get them ready in 12 weeks in 3 weeks. We had 12 weeks. We had 3 weeks to do a 12-week diet basically. So we have to get very aggressive with protein. So the more drastic the diet, the more aggressive the goal, the more protein per pound you're going to need. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're 200 pounds and you're 20% body fat. So you have 40 pounds of body fat. That means you need 160 grams of protein divided about 4 times a day, with 1 serving before your workout and 1 serving after to get that extra recovery. So that's the number there. Does that make sense?
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, good. So this is bare minimum. This is what we call baseline for all goals. And this is what it looks like in a program. Total baseline nutrient augmentation to support diet to help humans remain independent as well. So I would give this to anybody, whether you were dieting or not, wouldn't matter. Okay, the only thing you see in here is your omega-3 if you're not eating fish. See, that's negotiable. These are negotiable. What's not negotiable is this and the amount of protein you're going to take. And if you're working out, then we want a protein, 1 shot of protein before and after your workout. And I always tell this to all the trainers on the call and your clients, if you're all watching this, I just tell you, that protein is going to save you money. If you have to buy that in food, it's going to cost you 10 times as much. So by adding this a couple times a day before and after workout, getting 40, 50 grams of protein out of the way right there, do the math on that from the store, you will save literally $100 a month on your grocery bill, and that will that'll pay for all this with no problem whatsoever. So don't look at it as an expense, look at it as part of something that you need to do, as part of that, and it will save you money all the way around. So that's having the whey always in your pantry along with your multivitamin. This is negotiable because if you're eating 2 to 4 servings of fatty fish weekly, and you can just find that on your plate. So you can't see your vitamins and minerals on your plate. There's 30 of them that we need, and yet there's certain amounts. You can't visually see those. But you can see a fish on your plate. So that's an easy one to figure out if you're doing that. That's negotiable. Okay, but I have to put it in there because omega-3s are, unfortunately, 95% of the U.S. aren't eats any fish. Right. So now almost all your doctors are recommending it to everybody. And of course, athletes use 3 or 4 capsules daily for recovery. But those are athletes. So we're just talking about your recreational athlete here in the clubs. So that's baseline. I got you covered with that. Everything's good. Let's go to the next level. All right. So the next level here is for people that are getting very serious about weight loss. Maybe they failed once or twice. They've tried a lot of different weight loss programs. Well, the bottom line is what many people may not know is that modern day protein meal replacement programs, right, are the most successful. But they are more successful than any known treatment. That includes dangerous weight loss drugs. Meal replacements are more successful when you combine them with traditional diet. Not just plain meal replacements. Now, some people do have to go on complete meal replacement. Those need to be monitored by a doc. That's a clinical situation. They'll put them on a drastically low diet, only protein only. That's all they're getting. But they're being monitored regularly. And the reason they have to do that is because if they don't lose weight very quickly, they'll die. So they have to put them on these meal replacement programs. Yeah.
Hey guys, just real quick, I want to have Neal address this question before we get too far away from it. But Lindsay asks a great question. She says, I'm a bariatric patient, almost 4 years out. Is it the same formula of 1 gram per pound of lean body mass?
Yes, it would be. That's a good question. If you've had bariatric surgery, absolutely. And I'm sure you're taking a multivitamin, but a special formula because yours has to release immediately in the GI tract from that. But yes, it would still be 1 gram per pound. Okay. Okay, now, you ready? Let's go into how we do it, a meal replacement program, not a clinical one, but an aggressive weight loss program with meal replacements that you just put in with your normal diet. I wanted to show you this. Remember, I know I said I wouldn't do any science for you. I did a little bit already, but this is it. This is comparing meal replacement treatment versus diet alone, a high protein diet, versus drugs. And here's your meal replacement. Look at almost twice the weight loss on a meal replacement program that includes food too. Don't get me wrong now. It includes meal replacements worked into a diet. The top one is diet alone, high protein diet alone. These are kilograms, so you could double it, a little two and a quarter for when it comes to weight. And then here is drugs. And of course, you got the nasty side effects with the drugs. Those are anti-obesity drugs there, and then your meal replacements. So pretty crazy how much better it is. And what I always tell people, Todd and Jordan and everybody else, all your practitioners, I want my client to make a commitment to me. And a commitment is a 12-week program. So I make them walk out with 12 weeks worth of meal replacements for the entire 12 weeks, which would be 2 meals a day integrated into 2 traditional meals a day. And I'll show you what that looks like on a menu in a second. But because this is, we're trying to turn 12 weeks into 6. That's what our goal is here. We can easily do that with the meal replacement programs because they're going to feel better. They have less appetite problems because they're eating more frequently. That's what's great about low-calorie meal replacements. You can stick them in everywhere when you get a little hungry, and that motivates them to continue, right? Otherwise, they end up, the downside with weight loss attempts that lead to surrendering or weaker and the weaker susceptible structure we saw. So as a summary to that, feeding muscle while starving fat, this is what I tell every client, feeding muscle while starving fat by incorporating nutrients with little to no calories changes the journey to a positive one that builds on every day. So instead of less energy and less muscle, you have more of both, which in itself speeds results. So that kind of sums up what we're talking about. So let's take the package and let's take a look at it. All right. So our number one, this is a meal replacement, high protein meal replacement made specifically for weight loss. So it's not a pre-post shake. But I want everybody to know you can use whatever protein powder you like. If you want unflavored whey, you want all natural, you want the vegan protein, you can use the pre-post meal replacement protein. You can use any one of the proteins. Probably not first string, that's high in calorie. But the point is that that's for our athletes. But this one is designed because it's got 7 grams of fiber in one serving. And it's also got a digestion-resistant starch in it. So you feel like you're getting the sensation of carbs, but you're not digesting them all. So the calories are not all absorbed. Okay? This is specially made for those meal replacements. So you've got it here. You look at 180 calories only, but 21 grams of the whey isolate, 24 grams of sustained release carbohydrate that is actually starch resistant or digestive resistant, 7 grams of fiber gives you that feeling of fullness, and a lot of calcium. That's actually more. There's 200. We actually fortified it with calcium, so it's got 200 milligrams of calcium in just one serving. Here's how you would integrate it. You're taking daily, you're taking your multivitamin mineral every day. Then you would take this or use, like I said, one of the other protein powders and put whatever you want in it for 2 of your 4 meals daily. All right. And then these are the ones that are negotiable that we talked about. So that's how it gets integrated. During weight loss now, we always want you to have 2, right? So you have 1, let's give you an example in a minute, but like for breakfast, have a good meal replacement shake, right? Put maybe a banana in it, something else in it along. We have tons of recipes. I'll show you where there to get those as well. Okay. And 2 a day, and then 2 traditional meals. Then have your regular lunch, turkey sandwich, chicken bowl, big salad with fish, whatever you want on it, right? Then you have another shake around 2 or 3 in the afternoon when you start getting a little bit hungrier because you're eating good food now. Then you have your dinner at 6, 7 o'clock at night. Okay, you're a big dinner. We're talking, there's a lot of calories left. When you use meal replacements, you got a lot of calories left for traditional food. Now, when you get to the maintenance phase, you've reached your goal. You can continue using it exactly the same way, or take it down to 1 a day. I mean, as a bodybuilder, and I know it's hard to believe, but I spent my life as a 265-pound freak bodybuilder for 18 years of competition, and we ate 3 shakes a day on top of our 6 meals. And I've never gone away from the shakes. I have 2 a day, maybe 3. Okay, but I have 2 traditional meals regularly. And all the actors, actresses, pro players who work with, they do the same thing. They're always going to have a couple of shakes. And remember, it saves you money, big time. So, but you can always cut it back down if you want, down to 1 shake a day or none, down to traditional food, whatever. But you're going to find it works. So here's what it looks like. I kind of explained it to you for breakfast. Here's a great shake right here. And look, if you look at all the protein you've got in there, 45 grams of protein. So that's a cool one right there. Here's your lunch, regular lunch. So you got a turkey, avocados, sandwich, a wrap with a side salad. All right. And then you've got your shake in the afternoon, and you've got your dinner down here. All these menus we always, when they come out with, we have a place you can all get them at too. And then, of course, your program does all this for you as well. And here's a 2,000 calorie for people that are larger that are starting out to diet. They can eat more. So you have a bigger shake, bigger morning snack. You got a bigger lunch, but you actually going to have 2 or 3 shakes with the big lanes. Or you have a morning snack here. Okay, so you got this. And then look at all the recipes. And this is just one picture with a bunch, but all of our clients are thousands, tens of thousands of clients. Millions overall, send in recipes when they make shakes and stuff. So we go unlimited amount. You'll be able to do this for the rest of your life. And that's just Lean MR. We have the rest. So let's look at what it costs. I always like to lay this right out for everybody. All right. So if you were going to go full SRP, so that's suggested retail price for this whole thing, 180 meals, that's a 2 a day, right? And if you use got the multivitamin and the Lean MR, it's going to be $490. Now, if you decided you didn't want the Lean MR, you'd rather have the Whey Smooth, $269 for exactly the same thing, 180 meals. The reason I like, and again, I will tell the practitioners and everybody else on here, we make less money on the Lean MR. It's a more sophisticated formula. The whey protein is just whey protein. You can put whatever else you want in it. Even though this is whey as well, it's all the extra cool stuff to help with satiety that's in there. Now, and if you want, and now if you go to the next one over here with a 20% discount, and I just always extend this to anybody that's going to commit to the 12 weeks. I go, okay, 20%. And can you move that for me? I can't see the pricing there. Sorry, guys. There you go. Yeah, so you end up with at a 20, you get $392 for your 180 meals, right? And it's down to $215 if you're using whey or your best plant protein. These are these prices. That's for 2 meals a day. It's 180 meals. But if you look at the stats on this, you're looking at your calories on these 2 meals is 360. You're getting 42 grams of protein, if that's a 1 serving apiece. But you're getting 470 milligrams. That's half the calcium need. So you're not going to need a calcium supplement. The rest of it should be easily coming from your food. Tons of potassium is one of the nutrients of concerns in the American diet today. So that helps with blood pressure and everything else. And so you've got, again, this is it at the 392 plus the 24 is 416 with the multivitamin and everything else. And for those of you that train hard, because remember, you're not going to use Lean MR as a pre-post. You can use and this, I forgot the pricing. Yeah, this is literally $18 a week if you use the 90 meals for 1 day. This is $34 a week, and that's 14 meals a week. So this is 1 meal a week. This is 14 meals a week. I'm sorry. This is 7 meals a week. This is 14 meals here, and it's $34 a week. Now, obviously, you can't get that in the grocery store or anywhere else for that matter.
Right.
And maintain
and maintain your lean body mass.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of pluses with that. And then for those that train intensely, since this isn't a pre-post workout, go with the amino boost. You throw that in. That adds another to the full 12 weeks. It only adds $47 because that's estimating you're working out 3 days a week. You just take it before and after workout, just 1 scoop for the extra recovery for people that train intensely during this period. So you can see it comes out extremely cost effective all the way around, which is about $22 a week at the 1 meal, and then $38. That's all it adds to it when you add amino boost. So I do this for the trainers so they know how to package it. And that looks, and then these are the different ones here. These are the different, if you used Whey Smooth, I put it up here for you. Look at that price. pretty cheap. $239 for your multi for 12 weeks, 2 meals a day. With that, you're down to $239. So pretty amazing how inexpensive and how that pays for your membership as well. So anyway,
right.
Yeah, all the way around. So that's just one thing. I need the trainers, I need all of our practitioners to know that, because this benefit for health and this benefit for the wallet is really amazing. Okay, and that's what it looks like in the amino boost. We already saw this. This is the same program we saw with the amino boost in it, your pre-post during.
Neil, can you back up 1 slide?
Sure,
Couple slides there.
Absolutely. Yep.
I just want to touch on that Whey Smooth again.
Okay.
That slide.
Yeah.
So just for people's information, I know from training that certain. Okay.
Go back up. There we go. Right here.
Right there. Yep. Perfect. So most, and this is talking servings, right? 90 meals. Most type of, I guess you could say comparable type of proteins that you'll see in different supplement shops run about $65 to $70 for a big bottle that we're talking here. So if you're looking at that multiplied by 3 months, I mean, you're talking for that 180 meals a day price, you're only getting about 90 meals for supplements of similar quality, similar comparable type of, as far as source quality for the actual protein, you're looking at about twice that, just for comparison when it comes to specific that I've had.
And to that point, Jordan, what they're not getting when they go to the mass market and buy that, and let's say it was the same price, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it because I don't trust it. We already know these are third-party tested. You're looking at it right there, brother, right there. Those are third-party tested. That's why the only thing that pro sports allows in, their trainer, my son plays pro football. First thing they tell you in an NFL locker room is never go to GNC, never buy anything off the shelf, no proteins, practitioner product only, and NSF certified for sport. Because
so when
you're not getting the protein, but they know that. There's heavy metals in it, and the label's very rarely correct.
Right. So really, when you break it down, for less than $2 per meal, which is then a burger at a fast food restaurant,
right,
you're getting the proper nutrition.
Yep.
You're getting a sustainable lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're working out, right? I think a lot of people that I've worked with is they go on the diet binge. I want to lose weight. I've got a wedding to go to, or I have a goal, and they crash diet, or they pick up the latest fad, or they do whatever. But the sustainability aspect is tough.
Yep. Yeah, and then when you add in, branched chain amino acids, as far as that goes as well, I mean, you're looking at about $50 for just a small tub of that as well, about the size of this glutamine tub right here at most your GNCs, your mom and pop nutrition shops, and things like that as well. So you're looking at a 90-day plan for $47 versus $50 for about a month supply at most places.
Yep.
So just to kind of put the value perspective as far as what dotFIT offers compared to most places.
And the fact that everything's third-party tested just puts that adds a significant cost all the way around. But as I always like to tell people, I can do one. I can either out-formulate you or I can out-advertise you. All those other guys have to spend money on advertising, so they water the formula down. They're under-formulated. And again, these are practitioner products, not sold to the mass market. So you got a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's not always about price. You're ingesting this in the body. You're also looking for lifespan, as you put it, Neal, right? And so we want those nutritional dense products to put into our body, especially if we're working out and we're spending our most valuable resource, time, right, in shaping our body and developing new habits. And $1 here or $2 really, at the end of the day, doesn't make a difference.
For something you're putting back in your body, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so for all of your members and even trainers, for some reason they're not using the program, you can go right to the website. This is right available on there. Type it in here. Well, you got dotfit.com/weight loss plans, and you'll end up with what I showed you already. There's your baseline supplement plan on the left, and then here's those 2 menus we talked about with everything worked in. Here is your you add your lean MR. Your amino boost. Add that. That's what this is for the same menus. So you can get these are all available there. And then you've got your shake menus, recipes. Every one of our shakes have their own recipe section, and they continue to grow. Plus, the really cool thing, you guys, is we have those unflavored shakes now. So you can put whatever flavors you want in it, make it your way, any way you want. So it's pretty cool. And especially now, since this horrific condition that's happened out there with the virus and everything else, we're an essential business, so we're shipping more proteins to people's homes than you could possibly imagine. As fast as things can make them, they're going out there right now.
Well, and we'll post a link in the in Facebook where people can contact us and get more information on how to get started or if they have questions.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they can order off their site now, right? Yeah. You guys can order.
Yep. We've got that all set up.
You guys have a discount? Yeah.
Yep. So we'll provide that information. Yeah.
All right, now let's go to sort of the fun stuff, and that's for trainers. If you've got a client that's got to go fast, you've got We have aggressive supplements that can take fat loss, really to the next level when it comes to speed and helping people get over the diet hump. So these are what we call specialty products that, added to the things we just talked about, can make things go very quickly. So it's for people that need to get over the diet hump. In other words, they just struggle and then they're just like starved immediately when they start dieting, no matter what you give them. They're just not, they're just not feeling great. So we got things for that. They have time constraints. And I heard one of you guys mention, Todd, maybe it was you, that, maybe you're working with a client that's got a wedding. We just lost him. We're working with a client. Okay. We're working with a client.
Yeah, we're here.
We just disappeared.
Client that's got a wedding. You got a high school reunion, any of these type of things. You guys hear me? Oh, you're back.
We got you.
Okay, good. I lost your picture. Okay. So anyway, these are supplements. I'll show you how you work them in based on budget, someone's economics when it gets right down to it, from least to fastest. So let's go take a look. So this is scaled on economics for an average exerciser. So we already talked about what's number one. I'm not going to beat that up any longer. Baseline. Okay, that's done. That's not negotiable. We got to get that done. Now, what's the next thing we can add? So I've got somebody they're doing baseline, right? But they're not going to use meal replacement, so that I got something very aggressive for them. That's what we call thermic cell. So it takes a three-prong approach, and I know that the trainers have already had this science, obviously, but just for anybody else that's listening right now, it's a three-prong approach. One, it has a thermic blend, a thermogenic blend in it that actually bumps the metabolism anywhere between 5 and 10%. So you're just burning more calories sitting, but it also increases your spontaneous activity, makes you want to move more, which is more efficient at burning calories than anything. Then it also helps cut appetite by multiple mechanisms, not just from capsaicin and the thermal blend that's in there, but also from an ingredient called synatrol. And the synatrol actually works to help control appetite, along with Carluma fibrillata, which is actually from a succulent that the indigenous people of Africa use when they hunt, because it cuts their appetite so they don't eat their arm off when they haven't captured the hunt yet. So we would use that extract in there. And so this is very, very effective. And if for some reason you can't use a stimulant, then we switch you over to what we call weight loss and liver support. And it also has a three-prong approach in it. Okay, but it just doesn't have the caffeine or the thermogenic blend. Okay, now, what's the second piece you could do? You could do both these because they work on different mechanisms. So, hey, listen, I got to go fast. What else can I do besides thermic cell? Then add the weight loss and liver support. And if they got to go real fast, and again, we're still doing this without meal replacements, but we assume baseline, then we have a third one, a carb repel, that goes in this 90-day pack. And you can use it over the 90 days, or you can use it actually in 30 by using each one based on the directions that you get. And that's to go real fast. Like, someone that we had to get ready for a shoot just recently, we had to do all three of those things. Now let's look at the final over here. So let's say they're doing meal replacements. So we saw how you use them, and that includes baseline. Then all you're doing is adding the stuff on the left the same way. You can add thermic cell to that. That would be the first thing you would do. In other words, there's no hold barred on this one. This one, there's no financial issues. And again, we always make sure they realize they're probably saving money in the big picture here with the meal replacements. So you got that. So you just go 1, 2, 3 again, and you've got all three of those from the 90-day pack there. So that's kind of how you can build it. This is the Rolls Royce over here. If you went real fast, somebody had a real aggressive menu. Otherwise, you can start here and work your way this way if you need to. But either way, if someone's got time constraints, then of course you'd start moving into this. So that's pretty much what all of our practitioners are taught from day one, or not day one, during their master class on working with that. Now, last in here, always my favorite one. Oops, I can't get these to go back. Here we go. Last one here. For everybody out there, and I'm guessing you have a few fitness professionals that compete in physique or bodybuilding competition. This is exactly what we do for bodybuilders. As you know, we sponsor physique athletes that work in our health clubs only. We don't sponsor other ones. We take care of professionals and so forth. They get their supplement programs from us, but they pay for stuff. but we sponsor athletes. We have thousands of fitness professionals, and this is the program that we give to them. All right, so the members can actually see what they do. Because first of all, they get jacked, stacked, and Big Mac'd. So there's the off-season program in here, right? That includes all their creatine stacking here, how they gain muscle in the off-season, how they switch from first string as their protein source to Whey Smooth, and then they end up with amino boost as they get closer to the contest, only for pre-post, as they're getting, at this point, they're where we call them, when you get down to this point, you're on what we call death days. Your very last few weeks going into competition when you barely walk. You're like lightheaded and everything else. But this shows that you can see all of our trainers, all our athletes use baseline. They have their baseline in here, right? And this is how they stack the creatine throughout the weeks, all the way into week 4 of off season. And then what they do, the final week's competition, we can see we add the thermic cell and we add muscle defender. Because your immune system at this point, through chronic dieting, and all the activity that they have to do to get that last little body fat, and I want everybody listening, pinch the fat off the back of your hand right now. Pinch that fat. Now go down and pinch the fattest part of your body, whether it's your butt or your waist. That's what it has to be like, or you're not ready for that competition. It's got to be like the back of your hand. So that's the gauge that we use for bodybuilders, including body fat measurements. But the point is, that's the gauge we use. So in order to get them there, you can imagine that chronic caloric restriction and the extra work, the 2 cardio sessions, everything they got to do. So we're loaded up on supplements, including what we call muscle defender, which is glutamine, to support the immune system, because your body's going through what we call exercise-induced immune suppression. Okay, and the glutamine attacks that through the immune system to keep it strong through the gut health. What people don't realize, guys, is 70% of your immune system is attached to your gut, to your GI tract. Mm-hmm. So if your gut's not healthy, your immune system's compromised. So glutamine, I give this to everybody during high health risk seasons as well. Everybody. Dietitians give it to everybody, sometimes year round, depending on, where they are, to support the immune system as well. So we make sure they're using that during contest prep. So I just want to, that's it. That's the final thing. So let's open it up to Q&A.
Neal, can you go back one slide?
Sure.
Just kind of summary. The baseline is a daily multivitamin, right?
Yep. And your 1 gram of protein per pound.
And your 1 gram of protein per pound, right? That's everybody in the world should be doing that.
That's right.
And that establishes a baseline of nutritional support, both from a macro and a micro perspective. At least the micronutrients in the protein aspect. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to skip over number 3, right? Where if you're doing a normal weight loss kind of program, and you've got some time. You're not in a big hurry. You want to just make it gradual, develop that life, those good habits. You don't have to go on a crash course. You can just add lean MR, and you're going to replace a couple meals with lean MR, still keeping your daily multivitamin protein, and the lean MR is adding protein. And that's where I noticed the lean MR, and this is something I'd like to comment on, has fiber, right? And I think that's one of the aspects that sometimes gets missed. That's a key, and also keeping a good GI tract, and with enhanced protein that can create some slowdowns and things of that nature. But you've got fiber in that.
Yep, 7 grams of it, and beta glucan now, which is very all sorts of support for lowering cholesterol and just an amazing fiber.
Yeah. And then going back and adding number 2, we can add the thermogenic aspects to it, and you can have a more accelerated plan, as you gave some of your examples of Hollywood, or people who need stars, or for instance need ready for a shoot. But we're doing all this, and we're not compromising the nutritional aspects or the health aspects in this process.
And that's exactly right, because like we said, it's job 1, and that's why all your members should be just very pleased. Our job 1 is your health. And if we can actually improve your health during weight loss, guess what? A conventional diet center can't do that and won't do that. But we can.
Now, you talked about short time to be addicted to fitness. And obviously with this layout, you know, you've got a baseline and you can add some thermodynamic aspects and then go to protein. So talk to me about what your experience has been on, you know, that time. What does that time look like?
Yeah.
And what did you?
It's really, I picked the 12-week number because that's a good number. And if you see something happen, see, here's the real critical thing, Todd, that we've known. Of course, I've been, unfortunately, but fortunately, I've been in the gym business for 50 years now, so a long time, and I've watched it go from just guys in the gym to the world trying the gym. And the problem is, too many people start the gym and leave the gym because their body doesn't change in time.
Right.
They need to see a change in the first 3 weeks. They need to see and feel a change. They need to. And exercise alone doesn't get that done if they're not paying attention to the other 23 hours a day when they walk out the door. They'll actually offset everything that you did in the gym perfectly for them. So those are the things that we have to get done. So if they don't see something in 3 weeks, they begin to fall off. And by the 6th week, we've lost about 60% of the new signups, not the addicted ones that are already addicted. I never lose those. In fact, I'm trying to kick them out half the time. Okay, they're in there. These are the lifers, like me, right? And just going to wear our equipment out. But these are these newbies that come in. My goal is to get them and to turn them into those people that can't miss a workout, the people that don't want to miss a workout, and they don't feel good if they do. And that's what I like. That's why I like the 12-week number. If I get them with me for 12 weeks, it'll be hard pressed for them ever to give up. If I lose them in 3 or 4, then that's going to be trouble.
So they're building those lifestyle habits, and I think that's. Again, I think we talked about last podcast. One of the things that I love about UFC Gym is you bring your whole family. You've got daily ultimate training with your kids starting at 6 years old on Saturday morning. Yep. Let's get off the couch. Let's get active. And so you can develop those life habits early.
And Todd, did you see my post recently that, the the American Pediatrics, but they finally, it's on dotFIT Champions. Make sure you guys get on the dotFIT Facebook champion page. I posted it was it last week? I think it was just last week. Are you ready for this? So how long have we been telling everybody, yes, it's okay for kids to weight train. Yes, it's okay. I go, the second people would always ask me, because, my kids did it kind of, as soon as you can pick up a dumbbell, it's okay. All it's going to do is stimulate vertical growth, not the old, wives' tales about, they'll shrink or their growth plates. Those, right. You can screw anything up, right? But guess what? The American Pediatric Society finally came out and said weight training is good for kids of all ages. They finally changed their position statement literally a week ago.
Right.
We've been doing it for 25 years. It takes them forever to catch up with us. So be proud of that.
Yeah. What an evolution as far as children's weight training has came, right? I mean, recently we've started learning that it's okay. Just teach them form. Don't worry about weight, right? Whereas in older adults, when you look at advanced in age, right, we always talk about strength training and weightlifting as far as what the effects of weight-bearing exercise is going to have on introducing calcium to bone, right, to increase that, to kind of stave off osteoporosis later on in life, right? So why would that not be, by logic, okay for kids to kind of contribute to that as well? So I'm glad that came up, and I'm glad that you brought that up as well, Neal, because that is something as a trainer, we've been trying to get that through to people's heads for a long time. And when you talk about daily ultimate training for kids, parents are a little bit weary about them messing around with weights in general. Now we have justification to really push forward our program.
You do, and you can just cut that new thing out. I posted it up there so you can find out where the new statement is. But you nailed it, Jordan, about one thing that, you heard me talk, I think last time we were on the show, we talked about, that you build most of your bone by age 16. You're pretty much done. And then a little bit up to 30. But what opens it up is resistance and that extra weight. And they were talking about that in their paper, their position paper. It allows kids to build more bone when you start loading it like that. So you nailed that.
We'll make sure, Neal, to repost that here on our Facebook page, just so all our viewers and watchers can go look at those studies. It's great educational information. I want to jump back into failure and success. And I know a lot of it has to do on timing. But also as far as a journey, because emotionally going through a diet, and you mentioned it, one of the first couple of slides is, there's a lot of stress that you go through And it seems like it's one of those things like when you start a diet or you start an adventure and that's all you think about food and that's the last thing you do. So, you know, partnering with a trainer, with a practitioner, with a healthcare professional from this perspective, on the preventative side, is the one to go along with you.
Yeah, I mean, the hard part for everybody is finding the motivation to stick to something, because yes, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be, you know, your body's going through that stress, the initial stress in the beginning, but by, you know, having that baseline there and having a trainer to motivate you, that's what the goal is. Our goal is to give you a program so you don't have to be like ridiculously motivated to stick with it. It's actually easier to stick with, so the motivation threshold is lower. And that's what a trainer does. That's what a good practitioner like you guys have, that's what they do. They make it a lot easier for you to be able to stick to something.
So I'm also going to look at I was doing some stuff. They actually have some new research. Well, it was very old research, and maybe in the last 6 years. And there was some stats on using a trainer, a professional trainer, versus going it alone. And it talks about the longevity of being able to stick with it, but also some of the health aspects. And so it was to the positive because you've got that motivational support. You know, within UFC gym framework, we focus a lot on classes in addition to the personal training. And that classes gives you that community support so that you know if that you're going through your own fat loss challenge, not use weight loss, but your own fat loss challenge or your own physique challenge to get you where you want, you don't have to do it alone. You've got a whole community and people around you to help you.
And I actually kind of lump personal training all into those things, those small classes and stuff. Those,
yeah,
right.
I think those are personal,
absolutely.
very personal.
Yeah.
Sure. Neal, to back up a little bit, can you explain kind of a difference between your standard food logs that people may be kind of used to as far as websites go, meal programs that you see, kind of cookie cutter programs, or maybe something to help you push towards the right way, you know, diet wise, nutrition wise, versus the dotFIT interface that you talked about earlier in the presentation?
Yeah, the dotFIT, you know, interface is holistic, where, you know, a food logging program, and again, I'm not going to knock any of these ones out there. MyFitnessPal is very popular, and that's why we connected to it. So if people want to log food that way, we're not going to fight that battle because they're used to it. It's like switching from an Android to an iPhone. You know, you can't get these people to switch over, but, you know, it's just because you're comfortable and you're used to it. So that's one of the, you know, the same thing if they're comfortable. But the difference with our database is what we, you know, everything we do has to be evidence-based because we're an evidence-based organization. So it's double-checked and triple-checked by the scientific community. So we have, our calories are spot on for those foods. Unfortunately, some of your databases out there, food, are entered by just regular people out there. They entered the food calorie thing. And so they're significantly off on a lot of them. So that's one of the little issues. But the big one is, like the algorithm I showed you, you're getting real, true feedback based on an actual measurement change in the body. That doesn't exist. In fact, we actually have a patent on that, a very strong patent on that algorithm right there. Yep, it's actually hanging up in my office. Because, you know, I created the body bug. Yeah, the very first activity monitoring device was something I had created. And that's my biggest accolade ever. I won what's best of new and healthy in the United States in 2005 for that. That was the first activity monitoring device. Fitbit came after that. All the other ones came after that. We got on The Biggest Loser. That's why we sold millions and millions a month, you know, on that one there. So that was a big hit. And that algorithm came out of that. So I got to own the patent.
So one thing, again, we will repost a link to dotFIT where if you register on that link, you'll get paired up with one of our coaches. And, you know, we're not here to push you or anything. You can engage them, Jordan, and ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, there's no obligations. We're here to help the community to get you on a right start. You know, we've got our class UFC gym in Noble West that's open right now. That's our boutique model. Great community feeling. And then the Whitestown UFC, the signature is opening up.
Awesome.
Yeah, Neal, another question before we turn to maybe some questions from the audience. And when you talk about with females, especially when they talk about calorie burn or restricting calories is the first thing they want to do in a weight loss program, right? Can you talk a little bit more about, for instance, when you gain lean muscle, how many calories are we going to burn in excess each day for each we're gaining on average?
Muscle we're talking.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So one pound of fat burns about 3 calories daily. Okay. Now muscle starts around 15. So a significant difference, but don't forget, that's a stationary muscle. So I'm giving you resting energy expenditure. I'm not giving you anything else. That muscle, once you start moving it, can go to 50, go to 30, to go to 70 calories a pound. You follow me?
Yep.
But that's during the movement. So if you're on a treadmill, you're not burning 15 calories a pound. Muscle from that muscle, you're burning probably about 30 calories, right, or 40 calories during that movement. So you burn twice as, like sitting down like this. I'm going to burn, let's say, 12 calories per pound of muscle, right, daily. Standing up, I'm already at about 18. Pacing like this for the muscles that I'm working is going to be about 24. All right, 24. And then when I start going like this, I might be at 36. And then I might be, you know what I mean? So that's what happens. So from those muscles that are working. Yeah. Well, fat stays at 3 the whole time. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
The move.
So think about that. I mean, you adhere to your BMR. You keep with those recommendations as far as what your basal metabolic rate was, right? You can still go into a calorie deficit by adding exercise into it, but if you're eating enough, you're going to gain that muscle mass and you're going to burn more calories. And that was one thing with my clients. They told me, I just don't understand the concept of eating more to lose weight. Well, we're not necessarily saying to eat more. We're telling you to keep eating the right thing, supplementing the right amounts of protein, going forward, listening to us as far as supplementation requirements, and then you're going to burn more calories in excess in return because you're going to build that skeletal muscle, and that's going to, like you said, that skeletal muscle is used for movement, obviously. So when we start moving and actually exercising, we're going to increase that calorie expenditure. So in theory, you're burning more calories by gaining muscle. So that's one thing I think is very important to touch on, especially when it comes to weight loss programs, right? That's why we say don't restrict calories. There's more to it than just hurting your body and starving yourself and hitting crash diets and things like that. We're really trying to push you toward the healthy weight loss aspect, which is fat loss. And I think I've heard that a lot more now. I'm glad we had this conversation about it today. Is we're not into weight loss programs anymore. We're into fat loss programs now. That's the whole push for fitness nowadays, which I really like that that's the push now. But, kind of putting this information out there for all of our members and all our potential clients going forward is just going to help with the educational aspect, which people seem to lack sometimes when it comes to exercise.
And you're right about the restricting calories is just kind of the wrong word. We have to be in a calorie deficit or you're not going to lose weight. But that doesn't mean you have to you just restrict all these calories that you cut them down to nothing, because then you can't feed anything. So then next thing you know, you lose stuff that burns calories. So, it's saying we have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, but we don't want to keep driving that down. We actually want to start adding calories once we start losing weight because we got more muscle. That's what we want to be able to do eventually.
Right.
Because what happens is you start that calorie deficit, you go and start fasting, you're not getting the right amount of nutrients. Yeah. You start doing a workout, whether it's a group, whether it's one-on-one personal training or on your own, the next thing you know, you start losing energy. Then what happens is you don't go, right? You're tired. The sustainability lifestyle aspect starts to, and you end up not needing it.
Right. And you start to atrophy. Right? You start using protein as an energy source, which is not good. That's not what we want to do. Right.
For sure. Any questions?
Do we have any questions from the live feed here, Rob?
We don't right now. I think we covered most everything.
I think you guys got them all.
Because Neal's too good. Neal's too good. He just covers everything. I love it.
So I guess in closing up, Neal, we don't have any questions. Just talk about the mindset shift as with all the people you work with between the weight loss and the fat loss. Because everywhere you go, you Google it, there's a diet here, a diet there, but there's a difference, right? And how you approach it.
I mean, what I used to always call it, and I said the very first time I ever said it, I remember it was late 70s, early 80s. I called it favorably altering body composition. And that's what we built all our programs around. It was favorably altering body composition, which means fat loss versus weight loss. But that was the way you had to spin it in people's minds. And then that's why I use that visual that we saw in there, for our trainers. Right. I use that visual because that is, and we do that every day.
It's not, I guess one of the notes I actually had towards those pictures, both the male and the female, it's not any more work, right, for the person.
It's less work, or less stress. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Less stress, more sustainable over to adding to that play span. Whether you're 60 years old or 16, you can still create this. You can still start this journey, not lose energy, not feel like you're sacrificing, and then develop a program where you're working with people that you like to work out with.
Yeah, and you're adding this wonderful hobby we call exercise into your daily routine, and you're getting hooked on it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. We're running a little bit over. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, we appreciate all the information. Once again, we'll be continuing this on and on and on as we go, getting more information from the great Neal Spruce, the godfather of nutrition in our industry, as well as the CEO and founder of dotFIT. So thank you again, Neal. We really appreciate it. You guys can check out our podcast at UFC Gym Indy on our YouTube channel, as well as following us on our social media, Instagram at UFC Gym Whitetown on our Instagram and Facebook, as well as dotFIT on Instagram and Facebook. And it's dotFIT Champions. Is that right, Neal, as far as the
yes.
Facebook page?
That's, dotFIT Champions Facebook. There's another one.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's mostly trainers and so forth, but anybody can get in there. It's very close.
So we'll be sure to repost all that. Take a look, follow us. We'll put the list or retweet and repost the information you're talking about the youth and the resistance training. I think that's really important to get out there again. Yep,
absolutely. And you can always click on the links that we'll provide as well on our social media going forward. If you have any other questions, if you want to check out the site, if you want to order some supplements, we're more than happy to help you with that as well. So thank you, Neal, for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time on the UFC Gym Indy podcast, sponsored by Raw Life.
Thanks, Neal.
Awesome. Thanks, boys. See you next week, next time. Thank you, Jordan.